In this video you will learn risk management plan and project risk versus project issue. When should project risk management be used? The critical process to manage project risks. Risk management in small versus big projects. What are the tools and techniques for risk management? Risk management plan and project risk versus project issue. A risk management plan refers to a written document that describes how your team finds, analyzes, and reacts to prospective project risks which haven't yet happened. A project risk can be described as a thing that might jeopardize a project's success by prolonging the project time frame, overburdening the budget, or otherwise reducing project performance. A project issue, on the other hand, is something that has already harmed the success of a project. Handling issues is a reactive instead of a proactive strategy. Using a good risk management strategy, you can handle any possible risks that may arise over the project's lifespan and minimize them so that your project continues on track, within budget, and on schedule. When should project risk management be used? A strong project risk management strategy is proactive rather than reactive. Ideally, your risk management strategy should be developed when you are planning the project. This allows you to better pinpoint the risks involved and their possible effect, as well as manage those risks throughout the project. Rather than be caught by surprise, you'll keep an eye on such risks in the event they become problematic. If you want to handle project risks for an already started process, consider adopting the theory of constraints. It's a concept that may help you find the weakest point in a project or process and manage the risk's effect. Manage project risks with this critical process. It all comes down to recognizing, anticipating, and keeping an eye on possible risks while managing project risk. Possibly everything may go smoothly, and probably most things will go smoothly. However, preemptive risk assessment and event management may assist you in being ready and making swift course corrections. This guarantees that you complete your project on schedule and inside the budget. Here are 6 stages to writing a risk management strategy if you're just starting out. 1. Identify. Develop a risk management strategy for your project by compiling a list of all probable project risk events to detect risks. A risk event is something that potentially has an influence on the timeline, budget, or success of your project. There are many approaches to starting the process of risk identification as discussed below. Conduct interviews with project stakeholders. The best strategy to assess project risks is to consult with stakeholders, leaders, and subject matter experts. If they've worked on comparable projects before, ask them about the risks they encountered and how you might avoid them. Even if they haven't worked on comparable projects before, consult with important project stakeholders to make sure that you're not overlooking any critical project hazards. Collaborate with the project team to brainstorm possible risks. You will be collaborating with the project team on a daily basis throughout this project. Before you begin your project, inquire about the possible hazards they perceive and consider having a session of brainstorming to discover major risks to the project. Confirm and document your assumptions. According to the project management body of knowledge, aspects of the project that you believe will be true but are not guaranteed to be true are called assumptions. You may be basing project choices on assumptions without even recognizing them. However, by not documenting and testing your assumptions, you expose yourself to project risk. If your assumptions are incorrect, then your project's foundation could become shaky, jeopardizing the project's success. Examine your checklists. Check to see whether your department or team has created a list of typical risks. If they haven't already, start recording one to ensure success in future initiatives. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. On my website, projectmanagerig.com, you can get the free templates for your project management needs, as well as training based on my 544-page book Project Management for Managers, Program and Project Portfolio Management in Banking. Please see the details below in the description. Create a risk assessment matrix. The severity of a risk is classified into 4 categories: minor, marginal, critical, and catastrophic. This helps in determining which possible dangers should be addressed first. Put major risk occurrences in a risk register as they occur. A risk register, as the name implies, is a dedicated inventory of all of the project's risks. It must include answers to the following questions concerning the known threats you've identified. What is the probability of this risk occurring? What are the consequences and severity in case the risk materializes? What is the response plan to the risk? What is the level of priority given the probability and impact? Who is responsible for this risk? Don't worry if you can't figure out everything right away, some of this will come in subsequent steps. 2. Analyze. Analyze the probability, severity, and reaction strategy for each risk you've identified. It's a good idea to perform the risk analysis in collaboration with the project team or key stakeholders, depending on the complexity of your project hazards. Consider how the risk may affect your project's goals while determining its severity. Will it cause a delay in your timetable, jeopardize your budget, or lessen the effect of your project outputs? Then design a reaction strategy for every risk. Your reaction plan isn't always an immediate action item, rather it describes what to do in order to rapidly pivot and handle the risk. 3. Set priorities. To prioritize your risks, consider the following using your analysis and risk register as a foundation: which hazards are most expected to occur and pose the greatest threat to the success of your project. The most critical risks to manage are those with a high likelihood of occurring as well as high severity. You should monitor and react to all possible threats, but the critical risks are the things you should focus on the most and monitor very frequently. 4. Delegate. This is an optional but highly recommended step. Even if your risks haven't occurred yet, assigning an owner to the risk early on will assist your team members to be prepared. This individual should monitor the risk and serve as the focal person for establishing a risk mitigation strategy. 5. Monitor. Your project has started at this moment. Hopefully, you're on schedule to meet your project's final goals. However, you must continuously check the risks to prevent unpleasant surprises. To do this, send frequent progress updates to ensure that your project team and stakeholders are in the loop. Remember that risk management ought to be preemptive rather than reactive. Check in with each of the risk owners asynchronously. Each risk manager should keep an eye out for red flags in their risk event. Check in with them on a frequent basis as the team leader to ensure that everything is going smoothly. Watch out for updates to the risk register. If the risk's probability alters or the risk strategy is revised, the change should be noted in the risk register. Your risk management strategy, like other aspects of project management, should be a dynamic document that your team utilizes to remain on track. Collaboration is also critical for risk assessment. Too frequently, prospective issues or new risks emerge that team members were aware of but did not feel empowered to bring it up immediately. Make sure you're cultivating a culture of teamwork, transparency, and honesty. 6. Respond. If a risk materializes at any moment, it is time to act. You should have an excellent risk management strategy in place with the help of your risk management roadmap and risk register. Remember that risk management isn't about avoiding risks, though it certainly helps. Instead, risk management is the process of anticipating risks and putting a solid strategy in place so that you are not caught off guard. Risk management in small versus big projects. Being a project manager is easy. It's like flying like a bird, but you don't have wings. Developing a risk management strategy may help your organization prepare for unforeseen situations. However, not all projects require a comprehensive risk management strategy. If the project is simple, you may just need a brief meeting with the team members to discuss and handle any possible risks. These projects are minimal in scale, do not need a great deal of time from team members or external resources, and could be operations you've already accomplished successfully. A risk management strategy would be beneficial if you are working on a complicated project that includes a large number of stakeholders that are cross-function and critical resources. These are initiatives in which you may be devoting a considerable quantity of the team's time and bandwidth or making a major financial commitment. A risk management strategy will guarantee that the project remains within its scope and eventually succeeds. Tools and techniques for risk management. The better you recognize and react to project risks, the better the end result. As a result, you must make sure you use tools and techniques for risk management while planning a project. Shown below are a few of the greatest risk management tools and methods used by seasoned project managers to create risk management plans and protect against unforeseen risks, challenges, and changes. The risk register. The risk register is the most basic risk management tool. A risk registry essentially identifies and describes the danger. It will then offer room for you to discuss the possible effect on the project and your strategy for handling risks as they arise. Moreover, the risk register enables you to prioritize the risk, designate an owner to resolve it, and add comments as appropriate. It's a strategic instrument for risk management in a project. It collects information on the risks that the team anticipates and then determines how to react proactively if they occur in the project. It has already planned a course of action to maintain the project on track and under budget. Root cause analysis. Root cause refers to something's essence. As a result, root cause analysis is a methodical procedure for identifying the basic risks inherent in the project. It is a tool that asserts that excellent management is not just reactive, but also preventive. Root cause analysis is often utilized when a problem has already arisen. It focuses on root causes instead of symptoms. However, it may be used for risk assessment by going through the objectives of every root cause analysis, putting forth the below questions. What occurred? How did it occur? Why did it occur? Once those questions have been answered, devise a strategy to avoid it from occurring again. SWOT. Another approach for assessing risks is SWOT: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Begin with the project strengths and assess which components are safe and positioned well. Next, make a list of the project's flaws or items that might be enhanced or are missing. This is where the possibility of negative risk emerges, while positive risk emerges from the recognition of strengths. Positive risks are referred to as opportunities, whereas negative risks are referred to as threats. When gathering SWOT information, use a 4-square grid to organize your results. The square's top has advantages on the left and disadvantages on the right. At the bottom, there are opportunities on the left and dangers on the right. The left section is beneficial for attaining the project's goal, while the right-hand side is detrimental to reaching the project's goal. This enables analysis and cross-referencing. Its risk assessment template. Although this tool was designed with its projects in mind, it is adaptable to any project. Such a template provides a numbered list of the risks, as well as the control environment, the control actions, and any other relevant information. One of the most interesting parts of this template is the fact that it includes an integrated calculator that calculates the possibility of a risk happening and then multiplies that by the implication it might impose on the project or organization. As a result, a project manager is aware of the potential impact of the risk and may prioritize their reaction to it if and when it occurs. Probability and impact matrix. This is another useful tool for project managers. It aids in risk prioritization, which is vital since you don't want to spend time pursuing a little risk and exhausting your resources. This method combines the likelihood and implication ratings of specific risks before ranking them in order of severity. As a result, each risk is recognized in the context of the bigger project, and if one does arise, there is a strategy in place to react or not. Quality assessment of risk data. Project managers utilize a risk data quality evaluation approach to leverage data which has been compiled for the hazards they've identified. This is then utilized to determine the extent to which risk information is meaningful to them. It assists the project manager in understanding the risk's correctness, dependability, quality, and integrity in relation to the data gathered about it. The risk data quality evaluation requires the project manager to establish the level of the risk's knowledge, gather the available data, the quality and dependability of that data, and its integrity for each risk identified. Only by investigating these risk indicators can an informed evaluation be made. Brainstorming. Start the brainstorming process by first identifying the risks to your project. This begins with a study of the project documentation, followed by a review of historical data and lessons gained from comparable initiatives, as well as a review of publications and organizational process assets. Anything that might provide light on any challenges that may arise during the project's implementation. After you've completed your study, begin brainstorming with anybody who may offer insight. The Delphi approach is a form of this in which a request is issued to experts who respond anonymously. Alternatively, the project manager may interview members of the team, experts, stakeholders, and anyone who has worked on comparable projects. Click on the video card on the right to understand sources of project risk. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. On my website, projectmanagerig.com, you can get the free templates for your project management needs, as well as training based on my 544-page book Project Management for Managers. Program and project portfolio management in banking translated into 12 languages and counting. Please see the details below in the description and where to buy my book and what is the best program and project management software.